Hello, I'm Ken Raggio, and I'm the author of the Daniel Prophecies, God's Plan for the Last Days. I want to invite you to go with me to the land of the Bible, to the Holy Land of Israel, this November the 11th through the 21st, for the trip of a lifetime. Walk where Jesus walked, see all the holy sites where the famous men and women lived in Bible days. This is going to be a blessed pilgrimage to Jerusalem and Bethlehem and Nazareth and Galilee and all the major holy sites of Israel. I'll be making special emphasis on all the sites that relate to Bible prophecies in the last days. This is going to be a premium teaching tour, an exciting, one-of-a-kind pilgrimage. We'll depart from New York on November the 11th on El Al Airlines, which is Israel's own airlines, and it's one of the safest in the world. We'll arrive at Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv, and we'll meet our guide and board our luxury motor coach and head to the Dan Panorama Hotel in Tel Aviv just in time for a delicious dinner and an evening of leisure on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, and then a good night's rest. First thing in the morning, after a fabulous breakfast, we'll go to Jaffa, and we'll see where the prophet Jonah fled from the Lord instead of going to Nineveh. We'll see Simon the tanner's house, where Peter had his vision of the sheets let down from heaven, and where Cornelius' servants came to call him to Caesarea. Then we'll drive up to Caesarea by the sea, the amazing place where King Herod the Great built his palace and his pool and the hippodrome. We'll stand in the Roman theater exactly where the Apostle Paul testified before King Agrippa, who said, "Almost persuadest thou me to be a Christian." We'll see where Paul said, "I appeal to Caesar," and the ruins of the ancient port from which Paul sailed to Rome and to his martyrdom. It's likely that Peter baptized Cornelius and his household right here on these beaches of the Mediterranean Sea, and they became the first converts of the Gentile church. Then we're going to head to Haifa and see a gorgeous view of the Haifa harbor and the port of Haifa, where some of Israel's military submarines are stationed and where the sea battles of Armageddon are very likely to begin. Then we'll ascend Mount Carmel to see where the prophet Elijah called fire down from heaven in front of Jezebel's 850 prophets. You won't ever forget this experience. Then we'll go to the infamous mountain at Megiddo and see the archaeological digs where the ruins of 24 ancient cities were found, including the horse stables of King Solomon, the chariot city of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel. From atop Megiddo, we'll see the expansive valley of Jezreel, where the coming battle of Armageddon is going to begin. I'll teach a powerful prophecy lesson as we imagine Armageddon taking place in the valley below. Across that valley, we'll see Mount Tabor, where Jesus was transfigured, and where Moses and Elijah appeared with him as Peter and James and John bore witness. Then we'll visit nearby Nazareth and Nazareth Village, which is a recreation of Nazareth as it would likely have been in Jesus' childhood days. That's an amazing experience. Then we'll go to the precipice and see where angry men of the synagogue in Nazareth tried to throw Jesus off the mountain. Then as the sun goes down, we'll pass through Cana, where Jesus performed his first miracle, as we approach Tiberias and the Sea of Galilee. That's one of the most memorable moments of your life, your first glimpse of Galilee. Right here on my left is a picturesque view of Galilee from the shores near Capernaum. We're going to be staying in this area. We'll stay at the beautiful 5-star Leonardo Plaza Hotel for 3 nights as we explore the entire region around Galilee. That night, we'll have a spectacular dinner, and then we'll go for a night stroll on the boardwalk along Galilee. For those who are adventurous, the streets of Tiberias have many interesting shops and cafes and other curiosities for a wonderful, memorable night stroll. Then after breakfast the next morning, we'll take a boat ride on the Sea of Galilee. We'll pause on the sea to have a brief devotional service in the place where Jesus walked on the water and calmed the stormy seas. You won't ever forget that. At Genesar, we'll see what's called the Jesus boat. It's an ancient boat that was excavated in recent years on the shores of Galilee. Experts believe that it came actually from the time of Christ. Maybe Jesus saw it. Maybe he even rode in it. We'll visit Capernaum, which is the city of Jesus, and see the ancient synagogue where Jesus cast out a devil, and the ruins of the house next door where Peter's mother-in-law lived and where Jesus healed her of her sickness. We'll see a place called the Primacy of Peter, the shoreline where Jesus called his disciples. Heading north up to the Syrian border, we'll visit the location where ancient pagans worshiped the false gods of Zeus and Pan, and see the place where Peter told Jesus, "Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God." We'll see the headwaters of the Jordan River as it empties into the Sea of Galilee. Then we'll drive up into the Golan Heights and view across the border into Syria and Mount Hermon in Lebanon and see several Syrian cities in the distance. Later in the day, we'll catch our first glimpse into Israel's eastern border to the state of Jordan. From the Golan Heights, we'll have a spectacular panoramic view of the whole Galilee region. On our descent, we'll see the tombs at Gadara, where Jesus cast devils out of the demon-possessed man. And then at lunchtime, we'll go to a local Jewish kibbutz and eat St. Peter's fish, which is caught fresh out of the Sea of Galilee. This meal is included with the tour, so we'll see the kibbutz, the agricultural and farming commune of the modern Jews in this modern kibbutz. In the evening, we'll go to the Jordan River for an unforgettable water baptismal service. Be sure to bring a change of clothes so you can be baptized in the same river where Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist. And then while we're in the Galilee area, we'll also see the Mount of Beatitudes, where Jesus preached the Sermon on the Mount. We'll see the site where Jesus fed the multitude with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And there's an exciting new excavation just opened at Magdala, the home of Mary Magdalene. It's almost certain that Jesus would have visited this ancient synagogue and the community where these ruins have been found. At night again, you'll have free time to tour Tiberias after dark or shop for souvenirs on your free time. After 3 nights in Tiberias, we'll head south with Jerusalem as our ultimate destiny. On the way to the Dead Sea in Masada, we'll see a spectacular view of the Jordan River Valley and the state of Jordan on the other side. We'll pass through Jericho. We'll see the Mount of Temptation, where Satan tempted Jesus on his 40-day fast. We'll see Mount Nebo in the distance, where Moses last saw the Promised Land. We'll see Mount Gilboa, where King Saul and Jonathan died in battle. We'll visit Bet Shin, which is an amazing excavation on one of the world's best preserved ancient Roman cities that was destroyed over 2,000 years ago by a massive earthquake. There was an ancient Philistine village there where the bodies of King Saul and Jonathan were hung in infamy. We'll head down toward the Dead Sea in Masada and ride the cable car to the top of the mountain fortress where a brave community of Jews faced their extinction when Roman armies laid siege around 74 AD. This is an extraordinary and an unforgettable place. Next, we stop on the Dead Sea, the lowest place on earth, and those who are adventurous tour members can have an opportunity to swim in the salt sea where it's impossible to sink. That's an amazing experience. And in the evening, as we head back toward Jerusalem, we'll stop at Qumran and see the Essene ruins and the caves where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. Finally, we'll board the bus for our exciting drive into Jerusalem. Through the desert, past Bedouin encampments, we'll approach the holy city from the top of Mount Scopus and catch our first view in the night sky of the Temple Mount, the Dome of the Rock, and Mount Zion. It's breathtaking. We'll arrive just in time for dinner at our beloved Dan Panorama Hotel, only minutes from the Jaffa Gate and into the old city of Jerusalem. The remainder of our nights and days will be in Jerusalem and the sites nearby. If you've watched any of my videos on the Ken Raggio YouTube channel, then you've seen the background scene in my studio, which is a night view of Jerusalem looking across Mount Zion with many of the old city sites in view. Our hotel is actually in that very area and will be within walking distance so that many exciting places we can see after dinner on our free time. First thing after a fantastic breakfast the next morning, we'll visit the Mount of Olives and have a prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane where Jesus prayed. Behind us will be Bethany, where Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead. We'll walk down the Palm Sunday Road and have a fascinating prophecy lecture as we overlook the Temple Mount and the Eastern Gate and the Kidron Valley below. We'll take a drive to Bethlehem to see the Church of the Nativity, where Jesus was born, and visit the Shepherd's Field and the cave where the angels announced Jesus' birth.
Oh, come, let us adore Him. Oh, come, let us adore Him.
We'll have a delicious lunch in Bethlehem and tour an olive wood factory and shop at a great Bethlehem olive wood store where you'll have a classic opportunity to get some great Holy Land souvenirs. Returning to Jerusalem in the evening, we'll pass by the property where the new United States Embassy is supposed to be built. After dinner at our hotel, we'll take some free time to explore the nearby sites, including the famous King David Hotel, Manila Mall, the Jaffa Gate, the Old City, and so many other things. We'll pray at the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall, and tour the Rabbinical Tunnel underneath the Temple Mount, where you can see Solomon's ancient entrance to the Temple Mount. We'll see the latest excavation in the city of David, including the ruins of David's palace and relics from the Maccabean period. We'll walk through Hezekiah's tunnel and see the Gihon Spring. We'll tour the Temple Institute and see all the furnishings that have been prepared for the coming third temple, including the $2 million gold temple menorah, the table of showbread, the brazen laver, the priest's robes, the high priest's ephod, and the plans for the third temple. We'll take a quick trip into East Jerusalem and see the sacred cornerstone prepared by Gerson Solomon and the Temple Mount faithful for the coming third holy temple. That's an amazing sight. We'll visit Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Museum, which is a profoundly emotional experience. We have a special appointment to tour the Knesset, which is Israel's parliament chambers. Not many groups do that. We'll see where Israeli government takes place, and if we're lucky, we'll see Parliament in session, or maybe Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who knows. We'll see Israel's menorah outside the Knesset. We'll visit the Israel Museum, where there's a complete outdoor model of the ancient city of Jerusalem. We'll tour the Shrine of the Book, where the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls are on display. We'll visit the Upper Room, where the Last Supper and the Day of Pentecost occurred. If we can find a place, we'll have an outdoors mini Pentecostal service outside the Upper Room on Mount Zion. We'll see King David's tomb and the famous synagogue there. And then there's no place like the place of the skull, where Jesus was crucified. We'll actually stand inside Jesus' empty garden tomb. We'll celebrate communion in an emotional moment with our group in the garden, just yards from the empty tomb. We'll view the Pool of Bethesda and visit the Fortress of Antonia, where Jesus was scourged in the Lithostratos. We will walk the ancient Roman streets that Jesus' feet actually walked on, the Cardo and the Via Dolorosa, Jesus' path to Calvary, through markets and bazaars much like their ancient predecessors. In the evenings after dinner in Jerusalem, we'll stroll the ancient streets of the old city. A couple of those evenings we'll have a prophecy class at the hotel before going out for our excursion. We'll drink the world's best hot chocolate at the Aroma Cafe just outside the Jaffa Gate. And if you'd like, you can shop and eat in the gorgeous Manila Mall just outside the old city. It's just a short walk from our hotel to the Montefiore Windmill, where the earliest Jewish neighborhood was built outside the city walls. The old city at night looks beautiful from that vantage point. And we'll take a night walk from our hotel to the famous King David Hotel and see memorabilia from many of the world's most famous and powerful people who visited Israel, including many kings and heads of state and international celebrities. I'll present some fascinating PowerPoint lectures about Daniel's 70th week and the Third Temple and the coming Battle of Armageddon and the millennial kingdom of Jesus Christ and much more. It's impossible to list all the memorable sights and sounds and experiences that you and I are going to have on this amazing tour. And then our last day in Jerusalem will be a free day with free time to spend in Jerusalem. Walk on the Temple Mount, see the Eastern Gate, the Dome of the Rock, see the Citadel of David and its world-class museum on your free time. Walk the ramparts of the ancient walls of the city if you'd like. And finally, we'll have a delicious farewell dinner just before departing back to America. I promise you, you'll never be the same. This is the trip of a lifetime. And it's only $34.95 from New York. That's a sensational price for a sensational trip. If you meet us in Tel Aviv from another destination, then the land-only package is $25.95. And these prices are based on double occupancy. If you need a single room by yourself, the supplement is an extra $9.95. Don't miss this exciting trip. It's an 11-day excursion from here to Israel and back. Every night we'll stay in 5-star hotels. Breakfast and dinners are included and every meal is amazing. Early November is an excellent time to travel. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not too crowded at that time of year. If you're a pastor who wants to go, I'll be happy to make a presentation to your congregation and help start a fundraiser for you if you need it. This will be a life-changing, ministry-changing experience. Please go to my website right now, kenraggio.com, click on the link to the 2017 Daniel Prophecies Tour. There's a form to fill out there for you to request complete information. All you have to do is put your name and your email address in that form, and I'll email all this information to you automatically. But I also want you to contact me directly. If you're on Facebook, send me a private message on Messenger. Send me your mailing address and I'll send you the printed brochures and the applications just as soon as possible. It has an application on the back page. If you're not on Facebook, then email me at ken@kenraggio.com. Give me your full name and address and phone number so I can send you the printed brochures. Don't miss this amazing Bible prophecy tour. We'll depart from New York on Saturday, November the 11th on El Al Airlines to Tel Aviv, and we'll return to New York on Tuesday, November the 21st on El Al. We're using one of the best tour companies in the world. My personal friends Richard and Meredith Page, who own the company, have been to Israel hundreds of times. Their connections throughout Israel are more than impressive, using only the very best guides, bus drivers, hotels, and venues. This is going to be an exceptional and very wonderful tour. It really will be the trip of your lifetime. So contact me today. Don't miss out on this great pilgrimage to the Holy Land of the Bible. I look forward to hearing from you right away. At the bottom of the screen are the links to the Daniel Prophecies Tour of Israel. The brochures and the passenger applications are on my website. You can print them out. You can print out the brochure or the application if you want to, or I can mail it to you by mail. You'll find all the links there for the 4 pages of this brochure, as well as the passenger application to sign up for. As soon as you decide to go, send your application in by mail with a $500 down payment to Ed Hill Tours. The second payment is due halfway, and the balance is due by September the 26th of this year. If you don't have a passport, go apply for one quickly. Get ready, get packed, let's go to Israel. I look forward to hearing from you today. Thank you.
Thank you.